Hi, warriors. This is Jalen, my legal warrior, and today we have Jakeem Mays. We are going to interview him today for our YouTube channel. He is the CEO and principal attorney at Mays Law Group, PC. And as an entertainment attorney, he works with a variety of entertainment industry professionals such as actors, recording artists, producers, songwriters, film and television studios, production companies, record labels, music publishers, and new media companies. Prior to forming Mays Law Group PC, Jakeem worked at NBC Universal at what is now NBC Universal Television and Streaming. Starting in business affairs for the broadcast team, he worked on a variety of scripted and unscripted projects, including The Voice, Revolution, The Mindy Project, The Biggest Loser, American Ninja Warrior, the NAACP Image Awards, and the Betty White 90th Birthday Special. Jakeem transitioned to legal affairs for NBC Universal's cable networks, such as USA, Sci-Fi, Bravo, Oxygen, E, and Universal Kids, and studios such as Universal Content Productions, where he drafted and negotiated development and production agreements and provided guidance on legal issues in connection with production, guild, labor, insurance, risk, compliance for linear and non-linear programming. Prior to NBC Universal, he worked as a law clerk at Ragaman, Delray, Burnson, and Lowy LLP, where he focused on immigration matters. Jakeem earned a Bachelor of Music degree from NYU and began his career in the music industry, working for companies such as Sony Music, Sony ATV, Music Publishing, Arista Records, and EMI Music Publishing. He earned his Juris Doctorate from Thomas Jefferson School of Law while attending Southwestern Law School in Los Angeles. He is an active member of the Black Entertainment and Sports Lawyer Association, also known as BESLA, and serves as a co-chair of BESLA's Young Lawyers Division and actively works with the T. Howard Foundation, serving as a mentor to current interns. So welcome, Jakeem. You have such an amazing work history. Thank you.
I'm like, wow, that's a lot.
It is a lot, but I mean, I think it speaks to your experience, obviously, and that you are clearly passionate in this field.
All my life.
So I know you described yourself as an entertainment attorney, but you've also described yourself as a business and legal affairs attorney. What does that attorney do?
So I would say at this juncture in my career, I'm an entertainment lawyer. Because I have my own firm, we handle music matters, television matters, film matters, new media matters. Business affairs and legal affairs are terms that you generally see in-house. And there are instances where I will work with a client and provide those services, either through handling production legal for a show and or working with a network directly to help out. I've been approached to step in and handle test option agreements, for example. So that's the clear delineation. You know, in the studio system, business affairs, 90+% of them are lawyers. They are the attorneys that make the deals, and then legal affairs are the attorneys that paper the deals. And in some locations, it's a hybrid group, business and legal affairs.
Got it. Well, has your industry been impacted by COVID-19 at all?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. We are, the best word that I've heard is limbo, right? Everything pretty much stopped as far as production is concerned. There are a lot of issues that are being addressed as we speak. Everyone's anxious to get back to production. At the same time, everybody wanted to protect their interests. So the studios, for example, needed to review the contracts of the talent, you know, the actors and the writers and the producers to see what their obligations were. Do I have to pay them for all of the episodes for the rest of the season? Should I declare what's called force majeure an act of God because of this pandemic, which would suspend my obligations to pay. Talent is obviously anxious to get back to work because they're not getting checks right now for the most part. You know, everything in the beginning was like, yes, we're going to continue to pay you, and it reached a point where productions were officially suspended. And it triggers a clock in certain rights that are discussed in their respective contracts.
All right. Well, has there been an increase in talent? Has individuals just been coming to you saying, hey, I'm a singer now during this quarantine and I need you to represent me?
I mean, I get a relatively, no, candidly, I don't get that many calls with new talent. Unsigned talent, however, I deal with from time to time. The challenge is if you don't have a deal and you have not worked in the business, then you don't understand the business of it. So unless you have a deal on the table, it's difficult for a firm like mine to really help you. So as an example, two clients that I recently picked up are music producers. They have songs that one has a song that's on the radio in heavy rotation in New York. Another one has a song on an artist that is signed to Def Jam. So there's a deal to be done. Other than that, for me, it's more subjective. Individuals that come to me and ask for me to shop a deal for them, and this is on the music side specifically, I generally, you know, unless it's something that I'm truly passionate about, I shy away from because there are no guarantees. It's not to say that, you know, they don't deserve representation. It's just to say just the level of work and the overhead that I have, you know, as I now have employees. If all of my clients were unsigned talent that I would shop deals for, then I would have difficulty meeting expenses. The flip side of it is, just to touch on it briefly, in TV and film, I've sometimes had people approach me with a script idea, you know, and can you shop this for me? And the answer now is the same as it was before the pandemic. I can't shop a deal for you. I'm not an agent. There are strict laws, especially in California, regarding procurement of employment. So you should find an agent, and that's the eternal catch-22. The agent doesn't want to talk to you unless you're working. It's a bit of a challenge, but that's still the same. To answer, I think a better answer to your question also would be, though, that I think right now, what I've observed happening, in addition to trying to figure out a way to get back into production and deal with the issues of, you know, close contact, crowd scenes, intimacy scenes, and things of that nature, there is a lot of papering of the long form agreements to make sure that all rights are protected on both sides. And there are a lot of development deals that are taking place. So if you were someone that had something in the pipe that was already working on a deal, those deals are getting done. And so I've seen that. I've had to deal with, you know, a few of them, the newer productions, but those deals were already moving along. It didn't pop up after the pandemic.
So are you saying that there has been a rise in challenges given the COVID-19 impact? Because you said like interviews and
oh yes, oh yeah, absolutely. So just as an example, I had a staff meeting earlier today, and we were talking about the production guidelines in Georgia, which are different from the production guidelines in that are supposed to be coming out in California, except for Los Angeles. We'll see how that works. But you have a lot of competing interests. You have cast, you have crew. Just to discuss the rumors, in other words, I'm not saying this officially, but just some of the issues that I've heard addressed. They're talking about having a safety coordinator on set. They're talking about taking everyone's temperature before they go on set. They're talking about everyone having a mask on, except when they're shooting their respective scene. They're talking about having fewer people on set, which means you're going to have to do more with less. You have issues with craft services, which traditionally has been buffet style. Well, you can't really, do that. Limiting the number of items that you come into contact with, and that's from the cameras to the booms, etc. Hair and makeup is an issue because they have to be in close contact, right? Crowd scenes. So I'm working on the Uptown Records project right now, and the thing about Uptown is a record label that created a sound. That sound was dance. So you can only imagine, how do you show that? If everybody has to be 6 feet apart and have a mask on. That's not what happened in 1992, So, so you're dealing with all of those things. And then you're dealing with the union. So SAG-AFTRA has issued guidance stating that talent is not to work on any production without receiving prior approval. The DGA, which is the Directors Guild of America, they have issued or are reviewing different guidance. IATSE, which is one of the technical crew guilds, they deal with oh God, I'm gonna blank. I'm gonna blank just because I said that. But they deal with the crew. And so they have different interests. The Writers Guild has different interests. So they all have to weigh in. And then you have to deal with the particular state, because each state has different regulations. So if I'm shooting a production in Georgia, it will be different than the way a production shot in California will look. It also varies depending on whether you're shooting on location versus shooting on a sound stage. Comedies will probably come back first. So I have a client that's in a series, the show got picked up the series prior to all of the mess, and actually prior to pilot season. So that's a comedy project. It will go. But if it were a drama, there may be different issues at play. So yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Here's the other one. Sorry, I just thought about it. My clients that are third-party producers are required to deliver arable content. And so the studio or network says you will indemnify us from any and all claims in connection, with the programming. So what if somebody gets COVID-19 and tries to sue? Yes, there are insurance considerations, but at the same time, they, just like they would with a copyright infringement claim, or say, hello, production company, handle that. And that's a big, the one thing about Hollywood is innovative. I've seen some very cool things come out of this, just Club Quarantine, for example, which is D Nice. He does something on Instagram Live. I've seen the Versus competition, Babyface and Teddy Riley, Erykah Badu and Jill Scott. You've just seen some very innovative things occur. I've seen, they did a finale, I can't remember which show it was on CBS, and they were shooting on Zoom, and they did the respective lines as if the episode took place in quarantine. So, we'll see what happens. And they will continue to find ways to make production slicker, so to speak. And we will survive this, and we'll get on the other side of it. The question is when.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Yes. Well, if there are any potential clients or individuals out there that are just on the fence about hiring an entertainment attorney such as yourself, what tips can you give them in order for them to make that, leap of faith?
You get what you pay for. You can pay now or pay later. What I mean is, if you try to get someone that says that they'll do a deal for you, for an amount that's too good to be true, it probably is. And you're gonna spend much more money trying to get out of a bad deal for that, or worse, you signing something without consulting an attorney. I'm happy to help you if I can, but if you are someone that, the other thing is you need to trust me, trust my judgment. I'm not here to steer you wrong. I'm not here to take your money. You know, the money that I probably make from the smaller deals is, you know, just not, you know, equitable with the amount of work that goes into them. So, you know, it's not about that. It's about, you know, you read off my resume at the beginning, right? I've been doing this for a while. I've seen a lot of things.
Yeah.
I meet a lot of people that will come into the game, both singers and, you know, people on the music side and people on the TV and film side, that think that they are going to do things differently and think outside of the box, and, you know, they have the best idea ever, or, you know, they have the best way to get this to someone, you know, as if there is not this whole business that is in place, an infrastructure that is in place. And, you know, this business was here before me. It will be here after me, you know, and 9 times out of 10, you know, before many of those clients. Now, there's an exception to every rule. Tyler Perry, you know, changed the game for a lot of people, as an example. But you need to learn the game so that you can break the rule. And the way that you learn the game is you get a team around you, and that's including your lawyer, including a good manager and or agent, you know, that have the relationships and can get you in the door and get you into the room, you know. And we're not going to do that for free. That's just the reality of it, you know.
Yeah, the quality of attorneys going to be charging free anything, especially during this time, and especially, I guess, in the industry too, because of that extensive experience. It sounds like you also have a lot of connections, which, like, you know, if I just closed up shop and said, hey, now I'm going to be an entertainment lawyer, I have no connections whatsoever.
Right.
I'd be calling you up and like, hey, can I be on your payroll? I'm a 1099 employee. Yeah, I think that's exactly who we're paying for. That's the value that you add to the industry and to all the potential clients out there. And if they're not able to afford your services, I'm sure that you're able to at least guide them in a way where it's like, okay, well, this is what you need to start off with, or maybe your money is better spent on this right now and then come back to me later. I'm sure they'll remember that and appreciate that and keep it on your mind.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I like answered it for you. No.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much for joining My Legal Warrior. Absolutely appreciated, you know, interviewing you, and you seem like a lot of fun, and it sounds like you're in a fun industry as well. It's very different from, you know, family law, and so if our viewership wanted to get a hold of you, what is the best contact information that you could give us?
I would have them reach out to my office. You know, if it's a matter of a consultation, then, you know, obviously we'll have somebody reach out to set that up. And if it's a matter of advice, you know, always happy to talk to, you know, individuals, you know, share what I can, my experience at least.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much again for your time and top-notch information and a little sneak peek into the industry and the direction that it's moving in. And yeah, thank you, Warriors, for tuning in as well. And we hope everybody is staying safe.